This is kind of big.
All right, it's 5:30. We will call this meeting to order. Regular Chisholm Council meeting, May 24th, 2023. Good evening, council, staff, and everyone at home. Susan, would you take roll call, please?
Counselor Halverson.
Present.
Counselor Nicola Raha.
Present.
Counselor Buckman.
Here.
Counselor Halva.
Present.
Counselor Lackey.
Here.
Mayor Lance.
Here. All right, council, we look to adopt the agenda. There is a number of changes, so we're gonna start. We're gonna have a new A. A will be ambulance director. Number 1 will be the hiring of Tyler Nygaard. Number 2 would be to discuss the transfer pay. Vern would be moved to B. Mandy C. Jim Johnson D. Eileen E. Stephanie will be moved to F. F2 is amended with the addition of the funds that we just received from the state. Number 6 under Stephanie would be the Braun proposal for inspection and testing. And so I would be G. Travis would be H. And that would be supporting DNR mineral allocation. Miscellaneous would be I. So I would look for a motion to approve the agenda.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Cheyenne.
A second.
Thank you, Jed. Marty?
Under yourself, number 2, open session. If I had a proposal to add items, do we add them now or wait till we get to that item?
No.
No?
So that's on page 59.
For the upcoming working session?
25-foot lots, private sewer right-of-way, downtown, Lake Street, sidewalk deterioration, alley paving. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I would also like to bring up and add the public safety building onto that.
Is
that you?
That was one that I was gonna add, and how it's in review of our finances in lieu of that. Also gonna add the item for flooding. And I'd like to add an item on submittal of minutes from boards and commissions.
Okay, Cheyenne, would you amend your motion?
Yes.
Jed?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you repeat what you're gonna add?
So number 5 would be the public safety building. 6, review of finances. 7, flooding. 8, submittal of minutes from boards and commissions.
Can you elaborate on the review of financing?
Marty, you want to elaborate on the review of financing? Just an update of where we are and...
Discuss an update where we are and how it affects our budget projects,
For the public safety building or just all of our budget?
everything. Yeah. Well, particularly the public safety building and then its impact on
our ability to
our
do
overall
others.
budget for 2023.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so public participation. Marty, do we have anyone signed up here? I believe we do. Mr. Catula, good evening. Welcome.
Good evening to my neighbor. Good evening, Mayor Lance and council members. My name is Rick Catula. I have a little speech impediment, so if I stutter, I apologize beforehand. I live at 622 102 Fifth Street Northeast up in Lakeview, here in Chisholm. My better half and I made this our home. So the reason I'm here is that under F, looking at item 3, Gym Sports Club Noise Ordinance Request. Living up in, we're the second house from the end on Fifth Street, and then it's wooded area, and our garage is in the back of the lot. And the music is playing, I can hear it in the garage. That's how loud. Our two-story home, the upstairs windows to face the street. I can hear the mining company operations almost each night, but it's a humming noise, so it's easy to fall asleep. I work midnight shifts, so when I have the nights home, it's nice to be able to sleep. I have a Mustang convertible, you've probably seen it in the parades here in Chisholm, and I enjoy taking it downtown on the weekends that I have off. It's fun to go up and down Lake Street. I don't squeal the tires or anything, but anyway, it's fun. There's a lot of action going on downtown. I lived in Giving all my life. My grandpa lived here, so I spent a lot of time here in Chisholm. Schultz's, fishing. My concern is my experience going to parades and through the shrine is that every town has 1 or 2 events a year that they celebrate. Generally, the noise is up there and the partying and the whole 9 yards, and everybody kind of says, okay, that's our celebration. But after that, then to extend that to more dates, it's wonderful to have music outside. It's nice to sit outside and enjoy the weather, have a hamburger. I'm diabetic, so I can't drink alcohol, but I still drink Diet Pop. And so it's nice to do that, but loud music, loud noise. The ordinance was put into effect for a reason, to make it a more palatable evening cruising or sitting out in the yard. And the noise is very disruptive. I talked to my neighbor, talking about the dirt bikes and how it affects her old 13-year-old the dog. And so my question is, why can't, I mean, a person can have a band anyway, that's not an issue, but why does the city ordinance, the noise ordinance, have to be disregarded on so many occasions? It's cruising downtown last year, and then all of a sudden that blasting of music, it disrupts your nervous system, and the first thing you do is look at what's going on, and it distracts you from what you're doing, which is driving. And so that pulls you away from what you should be doing, observing what you're doing, driving safely and being under control. When that happens, you know, a dog could run in front of you, a child, whatever, boom. So there's that issue too. I really enjoy living in Chisholm, but I don't enjoy the weekends that I do have off, trying to go downtown and enjoy and having loud music. We're hearing aids, I forgot to wear them tonight. It's $6,500 out of pocket because of my fault, because growing up and the better half, listening, I love music, I love rock and roll, I listen to it every day, but I blew my ears out doing it. And so the other issue is that safety for Jim's clientele, that the music isn't so loud that it turns it into me deaf. And I guess that's what I have to present to you. I appreciate being able to come in front of you and to give you some concerns. I have talked to some of the people that live in the area. They're not happy when these music is too loud. But unlike me, who did this for 16 years, I'm not afraid to walk out in front of you and talk to you. and converse. And there might be alternatives too, if you decide to allow this to happen, for every occasion asked for, maybe going to a certain point, a certain time, maybe 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11, and then saying at this point, then you need to tone it down so that us old people like me can enjoy our evening cruising or sleeping or going out and having a hamburger. And that's it. Any questions you may have?
I appreciate you coming down, Rick, and expressing your concerns.
Okay, thank you so
Anybody
much for everything. COVID 2 years has been lots, and so I appreciate everything that you guys and gals have done through it, and keep going forward.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to council reports. Sir, over here, Jed. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. I got a little longer report, so bear with me. I attended the Public Utilities Commission meeting. I attended the Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District meeting. I attended the Safety Committee meeting as well. I need to speak with the Chamber's decision to promote Mississauga Metallics. I personally do not support the decision made by the Chamber, and from phone calls and messages that I've received, lots of members of the community are very angry about this decision that they made. We have plenty of people that live in Chisholm that work and live and have retired from there. I know this will become a big surprise that I work at Hibbing Taconite, but as I represent the city, it's up to us to protect our best interests, especially in our own backyard. I mean no disrespect to anyone that works in Mississauga Metallics. I understand anyone can join the chamber no matter what, but this has to do with pure principle. Why wasn't an educated decision made based on how this company has been a hindrance to the existence of HIBTAC? Hibbing Taconite alone pumps in over $450 million a year into our local economy. Overtime lunches come from Snickers. Meals come from Valentini's. Did anyone pay attention to the rally that was held last fall? Here's some more facts that Cleveland Cliffs has done for the area. Local food shelves and banks, $97,500. This is from year 2022, quarter 1 to 2023. The Golden Bears Foundation basketball, $125,000, $350,000 total for 2 years. Boys and Girls Club of Hibbing, $75,000. Silver Bay a club up there, $25,000. Silver Bay Blue Line Club, $25,000. Children's Dental Services, $10,000. Hibbing Tourist Senior Center, $10,000. Ely Educational Foundation, $12,000. The Finland Youth Program, $5,000. Lake County Historical Society, $5,000. Northern Lights Musical Festival, $5,000. The list goes on. And also Chisholm Community Foundation got $10,000 as well, donated to our scoreboard in our gym. So better decisions got to be made when we support outside of this community. And I just think that there should be a lot more education, a lot more thought going into this decision, because there's lots of people that are very angry out there from the texts and the phone calls I've received. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Counselor. I don't mean to rebut, or I don't want to argue, but I think it's a scary day when our chamber decides to dictate who they can and cannot join. So our chamber does a lot for our community. Shannon is involved with everything that happens and it goes on here. So I think people need to keep that in mind also. So thank you. Counselor.
Good evening. I attended an HRA meeting last week, and that's all I've got for a report unless anyone has questions.
Thank you. Questions? Counselor, good evening.
Good evening. I was gonna talk about a whole bunch of different things, but I just have to say thank you to this community, because I organized a fundraiser at the school for this Kona Ice fundraiser. And if you don't know what Kona Ice is, it's shaved ice that you get in a cup. And the community of Chisholm solely sponsored every single student, grades 4 through 12, by donations, which is, speaks volumes about this community. And everywhere you go and everyone you talk to when you're not in Chisholm talks about the people of Chisholm, the support that the community gives to its businesses, to its schools. The community passed a referendum just last year. So flat out, I was gonna give a whole bunch of stuff, but I just want to say thank you to this community because that was phenomenal. I mean, the joy on, it didn't matter if it was a fourth grader or a senior. To be able to go out there and participate in that and get a free treat, I mean, it was great. Phenomenal. Thank you to this community. It was just awesome. And obviously we'll be putting posts out from the school about it and thanking everybody that donated, but man, what an awesome gesture from this community. So thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Oh, yeah, a great community to be part of. Thank you for organizing that. So.
Wow. That just blessed my heart. Thank you so much, and thank you to the community as well. I attended a library board meeting, and I didn't have anything formal for today, just some questions. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Halverson, good evening.
Good evening. Only report is I attended a campground meeting, and that's all I have.
Thank you. For myself, I would just like to start off by saying happy EMS week. Thank you to all the EMRs, EMTs, paramedics, and directors or chiefs out there. I would like to extend a special thank you to all of Chisholm EMS, past, present, and future. Thank you for what you've done, thank you for what you do, and thank you for what you're going to do in the future. Building off that, I would like to say congratulations to Phil Olson on his 1-year anniversary with the Chisholm EMS department. And I'm going to take a brief minute here to run through some great news for the city of Chisholm. Representative Lizagard worked his tail off for us, and we should be indebted to him. I know I certainly am. He sat down with Administrator Scrava, myself, and former Mayor Champa back in December, I believe it was, and we gave him a list of our priorities, and he said, I'm going to go to work for you. And he did exactly that. He came through with $3 million towards the public safety building, $3 million towards the Chet Thompsoni Arena, $2.04 million towards the improvement and renovation of the basement of City Hall for the movie studio, $1.6 million for building out and improving Redhead, $840,000 tax exemption for the school project, $500,000 for trail maintenance at Redhead, a $220,690 increase in local government aid contribution, $207,000 in one-time public safety aid, and $100,000 to the Path Blazer Snowmobile Club. So I would like to say thank you for everyone in the legislature who supported this funding. It's a special thanks to Representative Lizagard for his hard work and dedication to our community. I did have a chance to talk to him Monday night, and the only thing that I could say was thank you, and that Senator Thomasoni would be extremely proud. So thank you very much. And again, very proud and excited to be part of this community. Moving on. City Ambulance Director. Jeff, good evening. No report. Fire Chief, I believe he's working doubles. Police Chief, Vern.
No formal report, unless I'm on the agenda.
Okay. Any questions for the Chief? City Building Official Zoning. Mandy, good evening.
No report other than what I have on the agenda.
City Engineer, John, Jim?
No report, unless you have questions for me, but I've got a couple things on the agenda also. Thank you.
Public Works Supervisor?
Small part there. Sometimes I try to get ahead of questions if I can. The street sweeper is making its way slowly after the slow melt this spring, and now it's down for maintenance. We're working hard. We got it apart. We have some local help that's going to help us get it back together, and we'll get the streets sweeped up as soon as we can. The north side is mostly done, and the south side really hasn't been touched at all, except for like the one block house around a lot of businesses and stuff. So, and you've seen the flags up, or hope you will soon. It really adds to the city. I know Councilor Baki really appreciates it, which is we could have them up all year. And really, just welcome to Memorial Weekend coming up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah, thank you.
Parks, Trails, Rec Director, Bridget. Library Supervisor, City Attorney will be here shortly. City Clerk Treasurer, Eileen, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilors. I have a couple of items to share. So with the passage or adoption of the MAPE and AFSCME union contracts a few weeks ago, or couple meetings ago, maybe it was just the one. We've been working hard, Christy has been working hard on calculating the back pays and accrual adjustments. So we'll get those done this week. Looks really good. She did a really good job. Stephanie and I will begin our preparation for fiscal year 2024 budgeting beginning next month, so that'll be exciting. I also put together a schedule for capital improvements. It's our initial compilation from input from all department heads. So we'll have a good basis going into our budgeting next month. Stephanie and I will. I'm really happy with the contributions that all the department heads provided. Thank you. In regard to all this wonderful funding that we received from the state, Stephanie and I have been working on preparing for that, incorporating all this new money, right? Reconfiguring things. So we're on top of it. Just want to let you know. The auditors will be in doing their field work probably in late June. Just wanted to introduce that to you. That'll be rolling out very soon. And then I just wanted to remind each of you, I don't know how often each of you are checking your inboxes here in City Hall in the lobby, just to do that, just to make sure, because sometimes I see it piling up and there might be some reimbursement checks in there, so just wanted to remind you guys to check it out. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you.
City Administrator, staff, good evening.
Good evening. Just a quick report. I just want to echo what the Mayor Lance said. I was blown away on Monday when I got the phone call on what the city of Chisholm was receiving. It was very, I don't even know how to explain it. We were very excited to see. I had to text every single department head that night to let them know what was going on. So thank you, Representative Liz Lagarde, and everybody else that worked hard for Chisholm in this latest legislation. It means a lot to us, so thank you for that.
Thank you, Steph. Moving on, consent agenda, which includes a list of bills, communications, which are February 14th, 2023 Library Board meeting minutes, April 19th, 2023 Public Utilities meeting minutes, minutes of previous City Council meetings, May 10th, 2023, payroll and overtime. I'll look for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April.
Report.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, Ambulance Director, Tiff. Good evening.
I have two things here. The first thing I have is a request to approve the hire of Tyler Nygaard for ambulance personnel. Yes, went through the interview and the background and the physical, and he's ready to start.
Excellent. Council, I'd look for a motion to approve that hire.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And then the second thing would be the transfer pay. So we're starting to take some ambulance transfers and touch our toes into that thing. And so that would be my request is to pay personnel $1.50 a loaded mile for those transfers. Sounds a little bit confusing right off the bat. Why would we do it that way? That's industry standard because we are only able to bill the patient per loaded mile.
Makes
So
sense.
This is a copy paste off of other ambulance services companies.
Another very exciting venture.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Growing. All right, Council, I'd look for a motion to approve that.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Cheyenne.
Second?
Thank you, Marty. Is there any further discussion? I believe that Councilor Baki, myself, and Oliva will be abstaining. So, All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those abstaining?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Tiff.
Thank you.
And congratulations. Chief Manor, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My first item is just piggyback off last council meeting, and what Attorney Lindsay had talked about when it came down to dealing with vendors. I know we had approved for Tom and Jerry to have their celebration, and this is just a request that the council grants them approval to deal with the vendors down there, or have control of the vendors down there. So we're all on the board at the same.
All right, council. If there's no questions, I'd look for a motion.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Jed.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in...
Question.
Yes.
Okay, because, well, when we were talking about the Juneteenth celebration, there was questions over control of vendors in the park.
Yep. I think that was
Not
for
a
the,
public- Yeah, that was public space, but any vendor couldn't come in because it was an event that we approved for them.
Right.
It's the same situation here.
exactly the same situation,
Okay, thank you.
but on the street.
Right, yeah, public.
Yes, public.
Yeah, public.
That's why, yep.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks for clarifying.
Any further? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And the second is just informational. The gambling committee did approve the raffle for gambling or fishing with bets. That's in conjunction with the snow ride on September 16th for their annual raffles that they do. So that's been approved by the gambling commission. Information for you guys.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay. Mandy, good evening.
The first item on the agenda, which actually is the second item in your packet, would be the resolution and certification for the Roosevelt Apartments Alley vacation that you did approve last meeting. We need the resolution and certification for recording purposes with the county. So I'm just asking for approval of those two documents.
Council, I would look for a motion to approve Resolution 0523-31.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Cheyenne.
Support.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The second item on the agenda is the request for approval of the certificate of survey for Todd Reinke at 128 8th Street Northwest in Chisholm. The Planning Commission did hear this request on May 1st. The reason it is coming through so late, there were a couple of conditions that the Planning Commission did put on the approval, and that is that we wanted to maintain our 66-foot right-of-way on both streets. This is a corner lot. We did go back and get a new survey and new legal description written for the applicant. And as you can see, on the new certificate of survey, parcel A is there. And it will just include all three parcels of the applicant's lot, and it will vacate the old abandoned Great Northern Railway Company right over there. So, Jim Johnson has also written a memo supporting the approval of the certificate of survey, so I'm just asking for approval.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Is there further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So it looks like the three parcels were this little tiny portion of the right-of-way and outlot, and then the remainder, was that what the three were?
Yeah.
Then it's being combined into?
It's all being combined into one. So
Okay.
basically, we're going to take this line from north to south
Mm-hmm.
and delete this line.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Is there any further conversation? All All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This, we're getting our public safety building well underway, so now we start paying bills. Let me ask you a question first. This is the first time that I think you've seen this type of a pay application. It's different because it's an architectural type form as opposed to what I usually use in engineering. Would it be helpful to you if I would go through page 27 first, and then I'll go back to page 26, which is the cover page, and just do a quick explanation. And that should cover both pay applications, number 1 and number 2.
Please do.
I'm sorry. If you would, on page 27, if you look at column B under description of work, item number 1, general conditions and staff, and then items 21 on down are all per our contract with Adolphson and Peterson as part of the contract that the city executed with them as our construction manager at risk. And then items 2 through 20, which goes down through electrical, are all based on the bids that were actually taken and received and awarded for this project. So in column C then, you see what those costs are as they were bid on items, earthwork, items 2 through 20, electrical anyway, earthwork through electrical. When we bid that, we actually had 2 costs. One was for labor, one was for materials, so we could get the tax exemption on that. Those have been combined for simplicity on this form. But and then if you go to the bottom or the last line, grand totals under your original schedule of values, that $11,199,947 is a guaranteed maximum price not to exceed that Adolphson and Peterson gave to us and guaranteed us unless there's change orders. Column D would be if in the future there are change orders that increase or decrease that value, that's where they will show up. And so column E will be the resulting value if there are change orders that would be added or subtracted from that column C. Columns F and G then are talking about work that is completed for that particular month or that period of time. And it shows what showed up on previous applications in column F and then what's showing up for this particular month on column G. Column H is if there are materials stored on hand before they're actually installed, the labor and materials at that point. And then first column under column I is the total completed and stored to date, which is the value of all work done to that date of the pay application. I think, don't worry at this point regards to the last 3 columns. So then if you'll go back, please, to page 26. As noted near the top right-hand side of its application, number 1 is for a period that ended at the end of February. And a number of the items that we just went through on page 27 then show up under this contractor's application for payment going down the left half of the page. So you see that original contract sum, which is that guaranteed maximum price again of $11,199,947. Then again, it shows if there's going to be any change orders, which have not been to date. So your contract sum to date is that same guaranteed maximum price. Then item 4 is the total completed or stored for this pay. It's items completed for this pay application. In this case, what this invoice represents is the pre-construction cost, which if you go back to page 27, is your line item number 26. It's that pre-construction fee. This was work done by Adolphson Peterson, from the time we hired them until it took us through the design review, cost estimating, right up through all the bidding services. And that per their contract was a lump sum of $41,900, which is what you see here. And that just follows through. It's the only thing being invoiced for on this particular application. So as you see down, then when you get to item number 8, term payment due, is that same $41,900. And number 9 shows you what the balance is of that $41,900 subtracted from that maximum guaranteed price. So with that, I would be happy to answer any other questions, but I would recommend payment to Adolphson and Peterson in the amount of $41,900 for those pre-construction services for our contract with them.
Thank you, Jim. Good explanation. Any questions? Council, I would look for a motion to approve pay application number 1 in the amount of $41,900.
Make that motion.
Thank you, Travis.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. How's that feel? First payment, public safety building.
Pockets just got lighter.
Weight on the shoulder just got heavier.
But we're moving forward after almost 25 years of this. I think it's been in process, so it's getting very good. And again, thank you to Stephanie and the rest of the staff and the Congress or the legislature that helped us along in this process to help us finance it. Then following along in the same path, if you go to page 30, this is really the start of the actual construction services by Adolphson and Peterson. And you'll see, if you go to page 30, there are really just 3 additional pay items plus the previous pay application that we just approved. The first one you see is on line 1, general conditions of staff. That is the labor and materials put in by Adolphson and Peterson on behalf of this project. It's their administration and construction personnel. And they have provided a cost spreadsheet to Eileen that we've been working through. And this is through the end of April, amounts to about a little over about 3.25%, as you'll see when you get to column I, the second one under column I, but it amounts to $45,000. And then if you go down to the second item, second number 20, the bond, that is per the contract, that's the cost of bonding. And so that cost is brought across at 100%, as is the general liability insurance. Under column G, if you add up the $45,000, the $127,481, and the third item of $117,283, that subtotal, it doesn't show up right here, but that's $289,764. If you take 1.75%, which is their fee on this, times that number that I just gave you of $289,764, that's how it results in that $5,070.87. So if you see the total there is work done in this pay period is $294,834.87. And then if you go over to the first column under I, you'll see the only other thing that got brought across was that pay application number 1 of $41,900. So then, again, if you'll just back up one page with me, the application number 2, as I indicated, this is through the end of April this year, and going down under the contractor's application, it's that same maximum guaranteed price of $11,199,947. The total completed date is that $336,734 that we just talked about, which is both pay application number 1 and number 2. You go down and That is carried forward to item number 6. Then line item 7, please, is the previous application of $41,940. So the current payment due is that same that was on the previous page of $294,834.87. And then you see the balance from that guaranteed maximum price remaining of $10,863,212.13. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions, but I would recommend payment in the amount of $294,834.87. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Great explanation.
Yeah,
That was phenomenal.
I
yeah.
think that's the one that made the most sense in
Yeah,
4.5
I
years.
I quit.
We appreciate you, Jim. All right, council, I would look for a motion to approve the second pay application of $294,834.87.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Jim.
Moving along. Eileen, good evening.
Good evening. Mayor, councilors, wow. Jim, you're a hard act to follow. So in regard to a few budget amendments I'd like to present tonight. For your information, this is the last part of our process, is to present this to you to communicate the changes we're going to make within the current budget. And I'll keep it pretty simple. All we're doing in a few of these amendments is to move budget dollars from one expense account to another within the same department, so the net effect is 0. So as you can see, first up is the ambulance services budget. We're moving expenses from workers' compensation to operating supplies and other equipment. So that one's pretty simple. Mayor, it's okay if I just go through all of them, right? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
The second one in your packet is for the library. The same situation. Oh, I apologize. This is where the library received some additional grant funds. So we recognize that revenue, we increased the budget amount by that amount, $2,000. It was a donation received for the summer reading program. So then we offset that with some expenses that Katie anticipated on spending for that program, as well as moved some unused expense dollars from workers' compensation. So the net effect of revenue expenses is $0. The next amendment is for water purification department. Larry's department received some unbudgeted revenue from related to the tower contract in the amount of $10,000. So we used that to increase his professional services expense jail account, and also moved some other expenses within the department to cover a correction to wages. Okay. Next up is the water distribution and administration. And this one we did, this is the first amendment we've done where we've moved monies between departments, but it's within the same fund, right? And the net effect is 0. And this is related to some changes to wages that was allocated incorrectly in the wages worksheet. We just made a reduction from 15% to 5%, which corrects that. And also reallocated workers' compensation with the net effect of 0 between those departments. And lastly is the sewer lift station and treatment plant. Same situation here where we moved some expenses between 2 departments under the same fund. Actually, I apologize. Let me walk that back. What we did is Larry and I, under Larry's request, we discontinued the use of a few departments under the sewer fund because they were not being utilized. So what we did is move those budget dollars out of that particular department. That would be the sewer treatment plant department, and transferring those budget dollars over to the lift station. The only activity in the sewer treatment plant were retiree benefits and Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District operating fees. The other two departments that we discontinued aren't mentioned here because we have no budget dollars allocated, and there's no activity. And that's biosolids and what was the other one? Ponds. Right. So we're just cleaning it up. So it's a lot. It looks a lot cleaner. So that's what we did in this amendment. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you, Alan.
Okay, moving along. Administrator Scraba.
Good evening. The first item I have on the agenda is kind of a cleanup item that we should have brought to council before that I don't think happened. So it's a lease with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources on page, 45. There's the map that shows what that lease agreement is for. As you know, we have multiple leases in the Redhead area and other areas within the city is utilizing. So what I'm looking for approval is a lease fee of $500. The term is 10 years. So we can get this cleaned up and move on with it.
Excellent. Are there any questions? I look for a motion to support the $500 payment for the lease agreement with the DNR, Minnesota DNR.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Jed.
Support?
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion?
Any question?
Yes, sir.
I guess not related so much to this one, but are there any other ones out there that we have to?
There are, yeah.
No. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Specifically, Marty, I think there's an area like the Bruce Mine Head Parade, and there's some areas in there too that we have that would come
We're wondering
together.
maybe about the spur trail that goes to the Discovery Center.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The next item I have on the agenda, we do have a revision to that based on the news that we got on Monday. So there is an item on your desk. It was emailed to you earlier today. What this is for our state obligation to maintain and operate the public safety building, we have to have the resolution stating where all the funds are coming from. So I know we've spoken in the past about how we were going to fund this facility. So, and with the additional $3 million with the state general fund, as you'll see in your packet, what that is going to do is going to alleviate us to have to take out a USDA loan, which in my opinion is huge for this building. We aren't going to be taking on any additional debt. We are going to be able to build this building with no debt to the city, long-term debt. So that $3 million was extremely, it's going to help us out in the long run for multiple other departments. So you'll see that change there. What it also was able to do was reduce some of our reserved funds down to 1.389. And then we also changed the general fund budget to 150,000 that we will budget in 2024.
Great news. And great news for the community.
Yeah, so that's, it is, it's really great news.
Hey,
So
council?
Excuse me.
No? Is there anything more?
No, I was just saying, if there was any questions for me on the calculation, I know this kind of the changes came quick. So if you have any questions on where we just, on those changes, please let me know.
Well, I agree. This is huge. Thank you, Administrator Scraba. And everyone else that helped put this together. Yes,
I
Eileen?
just wanted to make a clarification on the schedule that was provided to you, just so that it ties to all the information that Jim provided. It's just the rounding error where it says 1119998. It should say 947. So just to clarify that, just a small correction. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. All right, so I would look for a motion to approve resolution 0523-32 with the cleanup of the $11,199,947.
Make that motion.
Thank you, Cheyenne.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item I have on the agenda is to reject the CDBG funds for the public safety building. Brad Gustafson is here with St. Louis County if we have any questions on this process. I've spoken to him. So we have to reject, we were awarded $75,000 from the CDBG funds for the public safety building, but since we have a signed contract before our environmental was complete, we have to reject the funds because it's the guidance from CDBG. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that, Brad, if you wanted to come up.
Sure.
Council, any questions for the guy who's trying to take away our money? Welcome, Brad.
Council, yeah, so every project that gets CDBG funding is has to go through an environmental review, and your architect, I think it's Wendell, has been taking on that, and such that since the project is such a larger scale, it's more of an environmental assessment, and that takes a long time. And so from our understanding, the environmental review is still not completed, and HUD requirements state that the environmental review needs to be completed before there's any choice limiting decisions made, and that includes signing a contract. And so, you know, with your building moving forward, we were trying to get that done in a timely manner. It's still not done, so unfortunately CDBG funds cannot be used on the building.
Okay. Any further questions? Ms. Marty?
So is this SHPO or environmental assessment or both?
So I can speak a little bit and then Brad, you can add to it. So we did get approval from SHPO, that has happened. We just got that a couple days ago. And then you have a HUD environmental review that has the next step, I believe, right after that.
So with the environmental assessment, there's also a comment period and then a request for release of funds. That still has to happen. The big delay has been the State Historical Preservation Office. A lot of our projects have been seeing a lot of pushback with that. They have an archaeologist on staff and has been requiring a whole bunch of other
Red tape?
archaeological studies and assessments, and you know, it adds time and cost to a lot of projects around here. So,
and we did have to do additional work on that side of it. We did the phase 1 environmental, but fortunately, we did just get approval on that. Like I got the letter 2 days ago. I think Monday was the day for Chisholm.
Should make it a holiday.
But since we had signed contracts already with AP, we wouldn't be able to get the CDBG funds regardless.
Yeah. For two reasons.
Correct.
And it was just a phase 1 environmental assessment?
That's what we had to do, yes.
you have to cancel your contract and then re-sign it once the environmental review is completed, which isn't in the best interest of the city.
No. Duly noted, and next time we'll make sure we have everything crossed. So we'll be asking for more.
We'll be here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Council, I would look for a motion to reject the CDBG funds for the public safety building.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Jed.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. And just noted that is $75,000. So, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The next item I have on the agenda is moving forward with trying to find additional funding for our other projects in the city. The request for bonding for 2024 is out. This is a resolution to request up to $3.6 million for infrastructure projects, for roads, and full infrastructure projects within our roadways. I've worked with Jim Johnson on identifying the target. We've worked out the capital improvement list for these projects. So I'm just looking for approval to apply for that.
Work doesn't end. Thank you. Thank you, April. Chris.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Any further discussion?
Jim, where does Windy Hill fit into this?
It's within the 10-year capital improvement, not within the 5-year.
Yep.
As you saw in the capital improvement program, and I think the two programs that Stephanie is looking at applying for is 6th Street, 4th Avenue, right there by Heritage Manor, which I think we've got 5th Street South for 2024, so that one would be 2025. And then in 2026 and 2027, I think we did in 2 phases to do 5th Street North from 1st Avenue Northwest all the way over to Wendell Hill, to Wenton Addition. And then I think the 5th year was the last 4 blocks on 5th Street South. Quite frankly, I would like to be pushing, if we could get funding, I'd like to do the whole Windy Hills area just like we did the Lakeview Addition, trying to do it all at one point. It's just a matter of funding, and I think that's probably one that we're going to have to go over after a lot of bonding money as well as probably federal money some way on that one. So it's within the 10-year capital improvement program, but again, with the capital improvement program, yes, I get input from the Public Works Department in terms of both primarily on the sanitary sewer and the streets. They kind of give me an order, but really the first year is the only one that's committed to, and the following 4 years or 9 years are trying to set up some type of priority, but they can change, and that's exactly what happened like with our 3rd Street Northwest project. It wasn't even in our 10-year capital improvement program until we went out there and did some televising, and all of a sudden it went to the top of the list.
So in the interim, anyway, we have got to find a way to fix the hill. Like, that's a horrible. Anyone that has to drive that on a daily basis, I feel bad for. I mean, there's like huge. Well, Steph knows that she drives it every day. But we got to do something there.
Yeah, and we've got right now the same thing on 6th Street Northeast right there by Heritage Manor, and basically I think our biggest problem there, I think we've got groundwater coming down and going under the street, and it's bubbling up in the street. And Larry and I were out there again today looking at alternatives, and I think we may try and put in some drain tile about 2 foot down and get it to a low area so it at least captures it or gets it drained out from underneath the street, and then do some temporary patching and so forth, because any money we spend right now is kind of wasted money, but we got to take care of drivability, some of that aesthetics. And as Stephanie has been pushing as well, we're trying to do a lot of televising to find out where the sanitary sewer is in good enough condition that we can just go in and put a mill and overlay, or just an overlay right over the top of it, because we think the remaining utilities will last us at least 10 years on the interim. So it's going to be working with you in terms of trying to establish priorities and where we can get the necessary funding.
I will just to add on to that too, as Jim said, we have the full infrastructure projects, and then we've talked extensively about what, realizing some of these projects aren't going to get done for 10, 15 years. Can we do a mill and overlay? Can we do an overlay? What can we do to make the roads better in the interim until we can do the full project? Because these projects they've gotten so expensive that we have to start getting creative on what we can do. There'll be different phases on a lot of those streets. So we'll be bringing that to council.
That includes the paving,
all
we're
that
having erosion
same.
problems as well.
Yeah.
Basically, this year we kind of had to, until we got the state bonding money, now we gave up maintenance and everything this year to finance totally public safety. So, whether with this money we're going to be able to go back and do a little bit of that maintenance or some of those repairs this year is something that we're going to need to work forward on.
Yep.
Okay, council. I would look for, do we have motion support on that? I don't believe we did.
We do.
We do.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Oh, so it was April and Cheyenne. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item that I have on the agenda is resolution number 0523-34 for an application to IRRR Development Infrastructure Grant in the amount of $1.6 million. This is for the development that we have discussed for quite some time now next to Delta with the daycare, Essentia, St. Louis County, and some secondary businesses. I will be drafting a grant application to IRRR to request these funds.
Excellent. Thank you. Council, I'd look for a motion to approve resolution 0523-34.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Cheyenne.
Support?
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Ron.
Oh, sorry. I forgot about the addition. The next item I have on the agenda is the proposal for inspection and testing with Braun Intertech. This is for the public safety building. I can go and test the site. Just get into the total cost here. This was presented in the building. It's not in the AP's cost. We had some owner's costs, which was this, in the amount of $44,534. As you know, they are starting to do the demo work up there, so we do need to move forward on this to continue the project.
Council, is there any questions?
Just one question. Is this was built into the total amount, or is this extra?
This is owner's cost, so it wasn't part of that 11.199. It's an additional cost.
Oh, it's an additional
Yes,
cost.
yes.
Okay.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Marty.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you.
All right, first one under myself. Citywide festival request for 10th annual Schnorr Mud Fest. The attached letter requesting to declare a citywide festival for the Schnorr Mud Fest Fishing with Vets. So this would be Saturday, September 16th. So I would look for a motion to approve that request.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you, April. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, schedule a working session. All right, council. So is this something that we want to try to do before our 14th meeting? My availability on the first week of June, the second week of June actually, 5th, 6th, I'm open. Following weekend, or week, 12th, 13th. Mondays and Tuesdays work best for myself. I'm not sure how the rest of the council feels.
Tuesdays would be best for me.
Do you have an idea of date?
6th is fine.
That's Miss Chisholm.
That one, that's Miss Chisholm for me.
Let's see, what is the date? I'm sorry, yeah, it's actually, so maybe that is a little too soon for preparation. I forget what the date is. It's already Memorial Weekend, short week next week.
Okay, fair.
That is fair. You can't get it done?
I mean, we could.
No.
We can do it.
The staff, you do a
That's what
lot
we
for
want.
us,
We can do
and we don't need to beat you up, so. Would the 13th, the day before our meeting work, or would we like to have a late night on the 14th? And Wednesdays are pretty clear for me, so I'm not sure if anybody would like to just extend that evening.
I could do that.
I can do that.
Is there anything on this list that we would need to make a decision on, knowing we don't have a meeting for a month? I guess that would be my only question. I'm fine with the
That's true.
14th. I just don't want to miss an opportunity for a month.
I don't think so, but if there is, we could always schedule and reconvene our, not reconvene, but schedule our,
Can we do the week before on the 7th, or is that too soon?
I think that week's a little too soon for our staff. If we find something on the 14th, we can always reschedule our meeting on the 28th.
We might be able to do the 7th, it just depends on how much time. Because the 5th is,
I don't want to have it too soon and not have all the information that we need. So how about a late night on the 14th?
sure.
It's fine with me. Works for me.
Sounds good.
At the end of the council meeting?
Yeah. So Brian, do we have to schedule a time and we just can't start before that time?
Correct.
Okay. So council, how about June 14th? We'll schedule the time at 6:30. Can I get a motion?
Make the motion.
Thank you, Jed.
Support?
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next on, Gym Sports Club noise ordinance requests. So from Kelly Harris, looking for approval to lift the noise ordinance for June 17th, July 18th, August 5th, 12th, 19th, 26th, from 8 p.m. to midnight. Again, I feel strongly in portraying Chisholm as a great place to live, and entertainment in this area in the short summer months is perceived well amongst the community. We look to promote the downtown business district and use our outdoor seating, patio, and bar we have provided. Of course, if there's any questions or concerns, please feel free to call. I do have light acoustic shows Thursdays and Fridays, 6 to 9, not interfering with the ordinance, but keep in touch if there are any concerns with noise. So, council, we did receive some concerns tonight. It's one thing that we've always kind of extended on and granted. I believe when I first started and the requests started coming in, it was like 4 or 5 nights, and then it kind of ballooned into a lot more. So, I'm not sure what your opinions are.
Can you remind me what is the time currently in our?
Well, she's quoting in there that the light show goes 6 to 9, but that's not technically what the ordinance says. The ordinance is, if you're disturbing the peace.
Would you come up for anybody at home that might? There's a lot of people at home.
Yeah, Mike or what?
I just want to see your pretty face.
I get the call.
Yeah, you know I'm at, yeah. So, there's a misconception that the noise ordinance you can be as loud as you want till 10 o'clock. And it seems to be the misconception, especially of the bar owners and everybody downtown. That's not what the noise ordinance says. Disturbing the peace is disturbing the peace. If it's noon and you've got something going on and it's disturbing your neighbors, we come down and say, turn the volume down. The ordinance has a specific part in there. After 10 p.m., it's like, if I hear a mouse fart, you're in trouble. So, and it's really, for this, the way I believe the interpretation of the law was like apartments on apartments. If you can now hear something minute, so it's not, the average hustle and bustle of a daily living is one thing. Maybe they're running a vacuum cleaner, maybe they're, the kids are thrashing about, but after 10 o'clock, now you really turn it down. But still, disturbing the peace is disturbing the peace. So, technically, if at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, they've got it so loud and it's affecting the peace and tranquility of other parts of town, it can be complained on. So.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Any further discussion? Marty?
So I'm kind of curious, July 18th is a Tuesday. Do you think that's correct? I wonder if she means June 18th. Here's June 17th.
I would guess June. I think you're probably right on that.
Can't see it on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
June 18th, no, June 18th is a Sunday.
Right behind you, Marty, is a calendar.
Yeah.
June 18th is Sunday, and I think that's for the Juneteenth celebration. They're running the food for the Juneteenth celebration on that Sunday out at Jim's. And I bet you that's what she probably means.
Yeah.
That's right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
That would be my best guess.
Yeah.
Tuesday would make sense.
Good catch.
Yeah.
Good catch.
I want to think that she needs to be playing music from 8 to midnight on Sunday, right?
Right. Well,
That's
yeah.
fair.
That's a good point too. Maybe we
If
better ask for clarification. on
Well, if I recall correctly, last year when we had this conversation, we not allow it to go until midnight. Didn't we cut it at 10 or 12 or 10 or 11 last year?
One of the years, I think we cut it at 11. I'm not 100% sure which one, but I think you're right, Chad.
Yeah. I think I would support 11. I mean, I get where she's coming from. I mean, she only has a limited amount of time to use that outdoor space. It's not like it goes all winter long. So, I mean, 6
Right.
days from May to September, in my opinion, isn't horrible. But I would be fine with 11 if we cut it at 11. I don't have a problem with that. I also don't have a problem with midnight personally, but.
Any other input?
I think 10 is an acceptable time.
For what it's worth, the first time this came in, I think I expressed it. The first time this happened, I was at a grad party in Windyville, and it was like it was in the backyard because the way it echoes off of the brick walls there. I mean, you can be up by Stepney's house, and it's like they're playing on your deck. I've never been against killing a party or against business, and whatever the council rules is fine. They could use, in my eyes, they could use that patio 7 days a week. I think they're open, so they use 7 days a week. Turn the volume down. That's to me, it's a turn up. I don't go down there's bad. Marty plays at open mic every week, and when you go down there, he plays and it's nice music, and you can still talk. Some bands just for the years that I've been going downtown, it seems like the bands at night just keep doing this with the volume, and even with the noise ordinance lifted, we've gone down there to say, turn it down. It's getting out of hand. So I think if they had better control over the people that the bands that they're hiring, or have someone go, oh, I'll adjust your volume. You could have music there every day. That's what it should be. There should be acoustic. There's some music going there all the time. You just don't have to be that loud. You're only playing for the people in that area. And I think that's what I forgot your first name?
I'm ready. Can I just interject a couple of things now that we're discussing it?
I don't want to set any precedent because then we have to let everybody.
But I think, what Rick says, you're playing for that crowd right there. And he was talking about hearing damage right there. It echoes and you can hear it all the way up in Lakeview. You turn down the volume, you can have a party there anytime you want. You're not trying to play it for the people in Tom and Jerry's. So we had a lot of complaints on those days. I just refer to you guys when they come in. So.
I haven't gotten any.
Yeah, well, I'll get what you're hungry. No, I'm just kidding.
Go ahead.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, we do get complaints for the first couple at least every year.
I've been contacted about it as well. And we've had somebody here the last 2-3 years of these requests talking about it.
But I'm in favor of having the bands, but I'm also in favor of enforcing it if it's too loud. And like I say, it could be any night of the week.
Right.
Throughout the summer.
So is too loud is your discretion?
Well, it usually goes by complaints, as we start getting a lot of complaints, it's, turn it down.
So if you get complaints, can you just call her up and just say,
Well, we have to
turn
go
it down?
down there.
Oh,
but, yeah.
go down there?
Yeah.
Basically, her ask is the after 10 p.m. party.
Yeah. That's the scary thing with the ask is that it becomes as loud as we can
Yeah.
make it, and they does start to affect the entire town.
So
what do you
maybe we should add something in here where, if our PD thinks it's too much of a nuisance and they request it to be turned down, because I think if we approve this, they can just say, hey, the council said we can do this. So
Yeah, there's
It is subject to enforcement.
Right.
PD and.
It's still enforceable.
Well, I think, unfortunately, I think what you're saying is to lift the noise ordinance. It's kind of like doing it for the street dances. We lift it until 11 or 12 whenever the band shuts down, and basically, and even anything down there just echoes, and then you can hear it all around town. So you're basically saying, be as loud as you want until X
Well, I think
time.
what we're saying is we're going to allow an extension past 10 p.m. But it's still, if you're too loud, you're too loud.
Right, but, then you start questioning what's too loud. If people in Lakeview hear it, or people in Windy Hill, or people in Bethlehem Greens, when are we gonna say it's too loud?
And for the street dances, is it 11 p.m.? Is that normally when we shut them down, right?
I try to get them always to shut down at 11,
Right.
just 'cause.
That's enough.
So, yeah, the first street dance is shutting down, sure, 11. There's been there is a request, and I didn't see the Schnorr what time they wanted to run the band to, but I will tell you 11 as well.
It's,
Is that when Tom and Jerry's is 11?
Yes, 11. They're always in favor of that, like I am, because they want to go to.
Yeah.
And, people, by midnight, they drink as much as they're really going to.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
the Mudfest one is until 11.
What?
The Mudfest request is until 11.
So if we're consistent, we stay with 11 for this year, and then if we get a bunch of complaints, go turn them down. If we get complaints, we can look at it again, Oh, we can revisit it the next meeting we have if we have to, But if we're at 11 for 2 street dances already, probably best to be consistent.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So there's 6 at Jim's, there's 1 at Tom and Jerry's, there's Schnorr Mud Fest, so now we're up to 8.
Yeah.
And we have how many? 12 weekends in the summer, so. I would definitely restrict that Sunday night one. If it is actually June 18th, I don't know if there's a reason to be playing outdoor music until, on a Sunday. My opinion.
Yeah, the Juneteenth only goes till 4.
That's an afternoon.
Right.
Yeah, it only goes 3 to
That's
4,
not
so I don't even know why, if there's something else going on there, but I'm just reminding you it only goes till 4.
Okay.
It is confusing.
All right, council.
So, Mr. Mayor, I think if it's okay with the rest of the council, I would be in favor of tabling this, and then if the council's okay with me, I'm a pretty good friend of Kelly's. I can talk to her, get a little bit more specifically on the July 18th date, and then, talk to her about, the number too. And maybe she can scratch an August date, since we already have.
Well, I think that she's probably gonna have to, she's probably booking her bands and wants to know for sure if this is gonna go or not. You can't wait till 2 days ahead of time for the band and say yes or no. I mean, you can book it and then cancel it,
True.
but you can't just go
Good
hire
point.
somebody within
Yeah,
a 2
good
day
point.
period.
Right.
So we could,
Approve
So I
June
think
we could
17th.
approve
just-
June 17th.
I think if we just set the 11 o'clock time, which is the time that's consistent with all of the others, she can make just whatever decisions she needs to with that.
Do we want to note that if it's do we need to note that it's a little out of control, that PD has the discretion to ask them to turn it down?
Well, they do anyway, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Muscle.
Yeah.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
With clarification on,
Yeah, good point. On the 18th.
how about all the dates except for the 18th until it's clarified? Yeah. Is there support?
Or we could approve it, and then if we find out she's got the date wrong, we get amended.
There we go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That way she can carry on her business.
Okay.
I'll support.
Oh, sorry, Jay.
Oh, go ahead. No problem.
Yeah, so, and also, so July 18th is also a Tuesday, so it's still a weeknight. Is there something going on that day that,
I don't know.
in
I
July?
think it was a typo.
I have no idea.
One year, one of these requests was for a birthday party from Jim's, but it was a weekend.
Could be a wedding.
It could be a party on Tuesday, but Wednesday work awful hard. That doesn't mean everybody works Wednesday.
I'd probably vote against it Tuesday.
Would we want to take that date off? Because either one, it's a June or July, it's a weekday.
Just Tuesday or Sunday.
I'm okay with removing that.
Jed?
I would amend my motion.
Explain one more time.
Removing the 18th.
The 18th? Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Vern.
Thank you.
Next is Resolution 0523-35, Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. Attached is resolution declaring October 15th, 2023 to be proclaimed Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. Mayor proclamation. Whereas infants remembered in silence and many other nonprofit organizations work with thousands of parents all over Minnesota and across the United States who have experienced the death of a child during pregnancy through early childhood, and whereas many of these parents live in, deliver in, and have a child die in or bury a child in our community, and whereas Infants Remembered in Silence, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, was founded in 1987, 36 years ago, to offer support for parents whose child or children died from miscarriage, ectopic pregnancy, molar pregnancy, stillbirth, neonatal death, birth defects, sudden unexplained death of a child, sudden infant death syndrome, illness, accidents, and all other types of infants and early childhood death. And whereas bereaved parents around the world remember their child or children annually on October 15th with candle lighting at 7 p.m. Some will remember children in their homes, while others will remember them in small gatherings around the state, across the nation, and around the world. And this would unify these parents in tribute to their children. And whereas in 1988, President Ronald Reagan proclaimed October as National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, and whereas in honor of the thousands of children that die each year in Minnesota, Infants Remembered in Silence respectfully request that October 15th, 2023 be recognized as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. Now therefore, I, the Mayor of Chisholm, City of Chisholm, Minnesota, do hereby proclaim October 15th, the year 2023, as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. Council, I would look for a motion to approve Resolution 0523-35.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Cheyenne. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Juneteenth holiday. The city will be adding Juneteenth, June 19th, as an all-staff holiday.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Travis.
Support.
Thank you, Jed. Is there further discussion? I would agree with a lot of individuals that say this is a long time coming, so this is great progress. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Six, okay, council. Finally, something controversial for us. Moratorium on the sale of tetrahydrocannabinols. You couldn't have just said marijuana? So attached, see ordinance 115.01, moratorium on the sale of THC and hemp-derived THC in the city of Chisholm, Minnesota. With the legalization of THC, the city will need to research and align an ordinance that abides by the law and city standard. This process will take time, and in order to have all businesses follow the same guidelines, the moratorium will allow the time that is needed to draft the ordinance. Council, my thought on instituting moratorium is to let any and all interested entrepreneurs know that our city intends to regulate where a dispensary can or should be located, if we're able to. This process should include our council, our planning and zoning committee, staff, current businesses, and public input. It would prevent a situation where an entrepreneur comes to town, purchases a lot or a building, invests, just to find out that they're in a location the city might deem an inappropriate location. It gives time and opportunity for education, research, and assist in a successful transition for business opportunities for something that hasn't been legal in Minnesota recreationally in any of our lifetimes. So this is new, and I believe that there should be regulations with it. And that's my opinion. Any other input?
Mr. Mayor, I have no issue with exploring ordinances to control the sale area. I can't imagine that we would restrict it to anything out within the business district, but I recognize the need to have discussions for it. I think a year is too long. I would be in support of no more than 6 months. I feel like that's a reasonable amount of time for us to get those conversations, so that people who do want to begin planning for those businesses have time before the sale becomes legal.
Mayor, could I make just one comment? Sure. So the language that was created, it actually creates an outside sunset date of 1 year, but it also sunsets at the instant or the moment that an ordinance is put in place. So it's got two triggering factors to conclude the moratorium period. It will go no more than 12 months, but as soon as we design a regulation scheme and put it into place, then this automatically, and in fact, the ordinance number that's assigned to it is designed to be replaced by the updated ordinance.
Thank you, Brian. Further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, well, my understanding is it's going to take the state at least a year to figure out all the systems they have to have in place anyway, as far as taxing, whatever the rules are going to be. So, I mean, 12 months isn't out of the question, because I think I've heard it's going to take the state that long to figure it out on their end.
12 to 18 is what I heard.
So, and I think we have to obviously follow and comply with what their guidelines are, and then up to us to decide on a local level if and where we're going to allow it with business, general business, most likely. But yeah, we'll have to decide all that.
Right. No, I think this is, it falls in line with the moratorium that we did with the
short-term rentals.
Short-term
Yeah,
rentals.
that's what I was going to say. It's very similar.
Something that is legal elsewhere, but, we still need to be regulating it.
We also shortened the time frame on that
We did.
to 6 months.
You say again?
We shortened the time frame on that one to 6 months.
Yeah, because
as well.
we were able to complete it.
Did we shorten it, or we solved it within 6 months? I believe it was a year, but we solved it within 6 months.
Yeah, it was resolved earlier than the time that we had set.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
for subdivision B, it says restrictions for a period of 1 year from the effective date of this ordinance, no sale of THC or hemp-derived THC products in any form whatsoever is allowed in the city of Chisholm, Minnesota. The city council reserves the right to extend this, how do you say that?
Moratorium.
Thank you. For such additional periods as are necessary to complete the study as allowed by state law. And everybody, I think, received an email to Susan regarding what the THC laws are in Minnesota and what you can and cannot sell currently. And Brian, could you speak to this as well, please?
I believe you're talking about the current sales,
Yes,
that's what's legal?
The current.
And that would
Because right
already
now
be-
we're saying you can't have any THC
Subdivision
in a drink or
So subdivision C is existing
Oh, excuse me.
activities.
That's addressed here.
B.
Yeah. The C says that the city is aware that there are certain sales being made of hemp-derived THC edibles. Those businesses that are currently lawfully engaged in such activities may continue their activities as they currently exist, but may not expand such sales or operations.
Yeah, and so Mayor, the intent of the language that was created here is to recognize the legal activities that are occurring now, but basically to establish a status quo that doesn't expand until we're able to get a regulation scheme in place within the city.
Does that all make you feel more comfortable? Anyone currently doing it can still...
Well, okay, so like what if there's a gas station currently and Sunny Hill's distributing those drinks that are 0.3 or whatever the THC level it is, which they do. I don't know if you knew that,
Yes.
but they do. And what if they want to sell that? It's legal. Are you going to deny them that?
No,
They already are.
It's an existing activity.
Yeah.
It's allowed.
But what if it's
Your
But what if they
But if
don't
it's
currently
not
have that
existing?
brand?
right? What if it's not
And-
existing at Freedom gas station?
That's
and
what I'm
then
saying.
In a month from now, they want
To get
add
that.
it.
Are you allowed to buy those at the gas station?
Yes. 21 and older.
Yes, I mean, this is a flawed law from the state from the beginning. The law that came out last year.
When did it come out?
Last year, right at the end of the session, it was not thought well, it is.
I would think that any business that's not doing it yet after a year. Yes, please.
Please. Thank you, Vern.
Unfortunately, in crime problems, speak this better. This law, and I've been on the phone with the League of Minnesota Cities on this off and on for a while. It was one of those things pushed out as like an add-on bill right at the 10th minute, and they did not. The state did not do their due diligence in this. So it's supposed to be. And when I first heard it, I said it's non-intoxicating. It can't be intoxicating. Not so. It's supposed to be packaged as non-intoxicating, so, and it can only have so many grams and so much THC and everything, but the drinks are in the gray area. So a drink can have 8 servings in it, where it's not packaged individually. So when I called the other day on that, I said, so what do we do on that? And they said, that's kind of gray area. Drinks were kind of not even spoken about. Gummies would have to be individually packaged, and it says on there one gummy is 1 serving, and they're not allowed to be more than 1 servings, but the drinks are a huge issue. We don't really know how to tackle it right now. Although, when the state law does kick in 2025, it will limit drinks to two servings per can. They already know that's in the law. That's the only thing I know about the sale of what's going to happen in 25 when they suspect the next part to come out, because right now it's just which isn't the best thought, I don't think either, to allow the bud starting in August. I haven't done inspections yet. I'm not sure what to do with inspections. And this is probably the moratorium. Some cities jumped on it right away when the hemp stuff came. I thought these laws on hemp would go away when cannabis actually, but it's not. There's a market for the hemp, and they're hoping it stays on.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you, as soon as I find out what we're going to do, most people are going to be selling what they're selling now. I believe there's a lot of illegal product being sold right now under the current state law. And we're just now, a year later, starting to get educated on it. But the problem is there's still not answers. So do I go and if I find an illegal product, do I take it all off the shelves and they're out $10,000? Or do I just cite them? The league doesn't have the answer on that. So I'm wondering what the attorneys now are going to do on this.
I think there's fines in that bill. You can fine
misdemeanors, but what do they
yeah.
do? What do you do right now with something that's illegal? Do we take it off the shelves? Because do I cite them every day for selling it? So
Yeah.
There's the thing, and there's people that you don't buy from when you get from the distributor. You don't buy $20 worth. Okay, they're pushing that.
Right.
They're putting out 10 grand or 1,000 or whatever. So do I cite them every single day until they take an illegal thing off the market, or do we take it all as evidence and cite them? We're still trying to find the answer on that, and I think it's going to take an attorney to push it. And so,
We're not
We have to follow the rules of the land.
right.
If they're selling something that's not right, yeah, take it out.
Well, and
But if it's legal, why ban it from somebody selling it?
right. Well, and I think the question becomes: does the city want to be able to say where it is, how it's being sold? Is it in the children's candy aisle? Is it behind the counter where only 21 can get it? There's no regulation on that either. Where it can be sitting that I saw. So,
Mayor, if I
I
may,
understand there is.
the only regulation that we know for sure is that liquor stores can't sell it. And it's the reason that liquor stores can't sell it has to do more with the liquor ordinance than it does with the new laws that came out related to the hemp-based THC. Liquor stores are given a specific list of items they're permitted to sell, and because those products aren't on the list, they're prohibited from liquor stores. And so the place where you would naturally think that you could find something like this is the only place that the law prohibits it. I think the bigger question, the larger issue may be, even with regard to the items that are currently available in whatever form, and whether or not the laws are being followed exactly as is. The question the council may want to ask in applying the moratorium is, are those items that the city would like to put a licensing process in place for? If so, you may want to include the expansion of those activities into the moratorium so that we can kind of get a handle on it before it blows up more than it is. I'm not sure how many establishments within the city are actually conducting legal sales of these types of products at this point. The other thing to keep in mind is to remember what the moratorium does and what the moratorium doesn't do. The moratorium doesn't prohibit possession of these items. Things that are legal for sale in any community or in any one of the communities are legal to possess. It's just whether the city wants to get ahead of the regulation aspect of it before the sales and the business of the sales starts occurring within the city. That you can always, if something's legal to possess, it's legal to possess, and the moratorium that's contemplated by this ordinance doesn't change that classification. It just talks about how we're going to regulate the businesses within our community.
All right, council. I would either like a motion to approve the moratorium, ordinance 115.01.
And this would actually be the first reading? Yeah, like a first reading.
So approve the first reading of the ordinance 115.01, or I'd like recommendation to move on.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I would make a motion to approve the ordinance with the change to specify for a period of no more than 6 months. Can we do that?
If a change is requested, we would have to make the change and bring it back, because the language of the first reading has to be identical to that of the second reading in order for it to be valid.
I think we're all very much on the same page that we want to move this along, and sooner than later. If there's businesses that are going to plan. Is there any further? Hearing no motion, call for a second time. Call for a third. Okay, moving on. Last item, Travis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in front of you is a short synopsis, I guess, of what I've been invited and have agreed to go and speak tomorrow, and that is to speak in favor of the mineral leases being awarded to Cleveland Cliffs, Hibbing Taconite. That was the recommendation from the DNR, and in order for me to be allowed to go and speak down there as a city representative, I need to, the council needs to approve, support that. That is our position, that we would support those mineral leases to be awarded, like the DNR recommended to Cleveland Cliffs, Hibbing Taconite. I don't think I need to read everything word for word for you guys. Jed pretty much laid out what HibTac does for this community earlier. So in my opinion, I think it's a great thing that we do this to show our neighbors that we support them. But again, in order for me to do that, I do need to have support. We do need to pass support that I can do that. So that's what I am asking for.
Okay, council, before we do move on this, I believe I spoke to Attorney Lindsay on this. We do need to address any potential conflicts, and I myself, when one of the other hats I wear, I do sell industrial tools, industrial supplies, and along with safety and janitorial. My umbrella of companies goes from school districts to municipalities, construction, fabrication, and of course, paper and mining. So I believe that I have a direct conflict here, and I believe I will abstain from this vote.
Mr. Mayor, I'll also abstain.
Marty?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'll abstain too.
Okay. Well, that's out of the way.
Well, I think I support you 100%. I support that we need somebody to show that we support the mineral leases, and I think Travis, with your family background and your, can I say that? Can I say this?
Yeah.
Your sister being a part of all of this as well, I think this would be a great opportunity. So I support it.
Is that a motion?
I make that motion that you represent Chisholm.
Do I hear a second?
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Discussion?
Mr. Mayor, question for Attorney Lindsay. Can a seconding person that's going to abstain make a seconding motion?
If there's going to be an abstention from the vote, then you can't participate in putting the motion or the second onto the floor.
And the second question, if only 3 council members vote, can that be considered a passing vote?
Theoretically, it can, because once a quorum of the council is established, it continues even though the number of actual participating votes may fall below a quorum.
Okay.
Cheyenne?
I have 2 questions. In the past, have we as a city supported these types of statements
We?
as a city? Have we historically done this?
I don't know, for mineral rights, we've never really had to. We've been going strong for years and years and years and they've supported our community. So for that, I don't think so, but probably for other things, the council's had to send representation.
I believe we did support like the Rams letter. Obviously a little different than this.
Stephanie represented us down at the legislature.
Well, my next question was going to be, if we're going to have someone there representing the city, is it possible to have it be our city administrator? Instead of,
I think that'd be up to her.
it's tomorrow?
You had to sign up though.
Yeah, you gotta sign up.
It's
last
a
week.
last controlled process.
Right.
Wasn't he just asked?
Yeah, I'm the representative for Rams.
So-
Was it last
Can
Thursday
you,
or?
Can you say that?
Yeah, I had to sign up to speak by last Thursday, correct?
18th
Yeah.
or something.
And he can speak on his own behalf. He can speak. He is Councillor Travis Baki, but he would not be speaking on behalf of. So he does want to come to the city to ask for our support. Or I think either way, you'll be speaking.
It's just whether or not it's going to be on behalf of the city?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I have, so I am the Rams representative. Yes, Rams has supported this. We've signed a letter already in agreement that the city supports the leases going to Cleveland Cliffs through Rams. I've also been given permission from the school board to speak on behalf of the school board as well when I'm down there in support of the mineral leases being awarded to Cleveland Cliffs, and I think it personally would be a pretty big
Honor. Sure.
pretty big slap in the face to HIBTAC if we didn't support them, but that's just my opinion.
Well, what we're discussing is whether or not we support you being our city representative at that event, not whether or not we support where the leases go to.
Not necessarily, because all I'm saying is that the city of Chisholm supports HIBTAC getting the leases.
And my struggle is having a city councilor go and speak on our behalf. Typically, I prefer that to be the city administrator or the mayor.
Which
I think
it
that-
was. I will say, I wasn't the first one. Let me clarify that, right? Adam was contacted. Because he has a conflict, and I'm council president, he asked me, and then I agreed. Well, it was Thursday afternoon. So at that point, it was sign up or don't sign up. And we felt like we wanted to send support down there. So I did sign up, and it is my name on there. That can't be changed. So that's where, but yeah, I didn't overstep Adam. It did definitely come down that way through Jugovich, through Hibbing Mayor, and then Adam called me, and that's
Okay.
so that's how it came to fruition.
Are there other cities going as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hibbing will be going down with their mayor and administrator. I believe their EDA is also going along.
Okay.
Jugovich will be down there. A few other people too.
From an attorney's perspective, is there any concern, any issue with this?
Yeah, well, the primary concern is the concern that's being addressed here, and that's simply city councils are by presumption of law, politically neutral. We don't support or oppose any situation such as this, and the only time that we do is by an affirmative action of the council that says we are going to affirmatively make a statement. If the motion that would be put on the floor here to authorize Councilor Vaki to make that statement doesn't pass, Councilor Vaki can still go down. He can still make a presentation. He can still talk about his views on how this would or wouldn't affect the community. He could relay still that he is a council member for the city of Chisholm, but he couldn't make the statement that the city of Chisholm as a government body supports this until there's a formal action by the council that authorizes that support. So that's the primary issue that concerns me. If we were getting out and making more politically charged statements or taking sides in campaigns or elections or things like that, it gets a lot more difficult because then then as an elected body and here as an elected body, one of the considerations before you come out and make such a statement is do we believe and how strongly do we believe that the opinion that we're moving to allow to be expressed on behalf of the city represents the entire electorate of the city, or at least the majority of the electorate of the city, where we can say confidently that we're representing what we believe to be the views of the city. In politics these days, that becomes a very, very difficult proposition. In a proposition like this, it becomes a little bit easier because it's in support of a business that's more local. Though this issue is a very controversial issue statewide, and if you go and talk to, and I don't think it's any secret as you watch the newspapers, if you go and talk to the folks in Itasca County, they'll have a completely different view, by and large, on this issue. And so there's a lot both ways, but yeah, that's the primary issue, is that the council has to come to a consensus by an official action before a position could be represented on behalf of the city. That was a long way of giving a short answer.
No, I
lawyered it.
I appreciate that.
Can we send two?
I don't think Steph's available.
Oh, sorry.
And she didn't sign up.
Well, she could stand next to you and be like, yes, I support this.
All right, council. All those in favor?
We don't have a second,
Yeah, I seconded it.
He's not abstaining.
I'm not abstaining.
but he's making a motion to send himself. Didn't we say that?
April made the motion, I think, didn't she?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Or did April second?
I made the
No,
motion.
she made the motion.
Travis supported it.
And Councilor Vaki's support of the motion wouldn't necessarily be out of order because he hasn't indicated an abstention.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Your roll call vote, please.
Susan, please.
Councillor Alderson,
Abstain.
Councillor McLeod-Raha,
Nay.
Counselor Button,
Aye.
Counselor Hollabaugh,
Abstain.
Counselor Vaki,
Yes.
Mayor Rand.
Abstain. Motion carries. All right, Counselor, is there anything under miscellaneous?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a question I should have addressed it earlier, but in the library meeting minutes from February 14th, there's some issue with the grant. Did that get resolved?
Is that the state grant?
There was some concern about the
Yeah.
$100,000.
I'm still working on it. So what's happening is they're saying that we can't match it with state funds, which is IRRR money. So I've been working with IRRR on that.
What was that funding agency?
MMB, isn't it, I believe? Minnesota Management. It's a state fund.
And that's where the grant money came from then?
Correct. And we matched it with IRRR money. But there's a caveat in their grant program that says you can't match it with state funds. But ours, IRRR money, state funds, there's a tax relief. So I'm working through that process. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
No resolution yet.
Anything else, Council? If not, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Cheyenne.
Support.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Good night, everybody.